guys? Shekinah Tebi here, aka Shay, and you are watching episode 19 of The Creative Quest. Oh, yeah, I don't wanna be alone. Welcome back to The Creative Quest, guys, and I am here with a very good friend of mine by the name of Julian Stanz. And Julian and I met at the local music scene here in Memphis. We've played a lot of shows together, and he's an incredible artist and creative, and so I thought that it would be really great to bring him on the show today to talk to you guys about a little bit about him and about his philosophy of creativity and the projects he's involved with. But before we get to that, you may notice that we are in a different environment than normal. On The Creative Quest, we are in the other side of my house, which is where the studio is that my husband spends a lot of time in here, and this is where most of the magic happens, at least the good magic. Yeah. All the writing happens on the other side of the house where I normally shoot the videos. So I thought that there'd be a little bit more space in here for us to chat and whatnot, since we have someone else on the show finally. So with that, hi Julian.
Hi, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been way too long.
Yeah, it has been a long time. So yeah. I'm really glad to have you here today.
Yeah, me too.
And for us to talk, because we're good at that, right?
We are good at talking.
Yeah, we can
Buckle up.
Yeah, we can talk for hours, but this is not going to be a 3-hour long episode. Right.
It's like Lord of the Rings commentary.
Right? Oh my gosh. So why don't you just start off with telling us a little bit about yourself, like how long you've been in Memphis. Okay. Tell us a little bit about what got you into music and kind of what you do if you have a day job. And we'll start off that way. So.
Okay, cool. I was born and raised in Memphis, so that's a thing. I was horribly injured when I was 16, and so sports were taken away from me, tragically lost and parted, so my NBA career never took off, which was probably fortuitous, but then my friend came and he was like, hey, I'm sick of playing guitar alone, and he just threw a guitar into my hands, and he was like, learn these 2 chords, I'll be back in 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
That's how I learned how to play guitar. And so he came back and he was like, oh, you're getting better. So, all right, well, we'll just keep with this. And it wound up that music turns out to be pretty cool. So
yeah, absolutely.
So that's my legacy. I'm a high school teacher. If I do have a day job,
right. If I do have a day job, right, so, when I have to have one, that's right. What I do.
So if you guys see this, hello everyone. But yeah, this is my night job.
Right here.
But yeah, so I'm a high school teacher and teach special education and
awesome.
Taught U.S. history and world history, government economics as well.
That's really great. So. And are you so history, right?
Yeah, for the most part history.
Okay, so, because you're a very philosophical person, so I always think that you teach philosophy. And then I'm like, wait, no, that's not right.
Well, I might sneak a little in, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Actually, you know.
Awesome. So how old were you when that happened with your friend, like with the guitar?
I was 16.
16.
Yeah, so I started playing, hardcore when I was about 18, so I was kind of late to the game. So
yeah,
all these little twerps who start at 12 and they're amazing now.
Or 7.
Or 7. Yeah. So I told people, hey, I'm going to be on a show with a much better guitar player than me tonight. So.
Hi.
So yeah, if you want to stick around, we're going to have a guitar
off.
A guitar shred off. Yeah. It's a da da da. I'm gonna nail down some quarter notes for you.
Awesome, cool. Well, why don't you share a little bit more about just kind of your creative philosophy? Because I think that you've got a really great talent and gift, and I know that you kind of always say that you're not as good as everyone else around you, but you have a really, really good ear, and you write really memorable parts in the music, and so you're very just naturally a creative kind of person, but you also have this really strong intellect. So just maybe what does creativity mean to you, and kind of what's your philosophy behind that?
Okay, so philosophy of creativity, I've been thinking about this all day. I still don't know. I can only describe when I want to create. Yeah. What happens, and so when I want to create, I write a song that I treat like it's alive, and so that I treat the song as though it's going to ask me for what it needs and what it desires.
That's so
because cool. If I superimpose and strong arm the song into being something that it's not, it turns out to be like you can almost see the seams where it's connected. You know, it's like, well, I want to put something here, and you can just, even the listener, you know, if they're not even, you don't even have to be particularly perceptive to pick up on like, oh, well, that took a weird turn, and then bam, it's back. You can almost see the window of speculation, you know, where like somebody was like, I don't know, you know, maybe this, and you never stopped to think of several things where they're like, and also like chasing that tiger down the road a little bit. It mean like check your ego at the door. Essentially, in my band, individuals just, it's not important that I play guitar parts that are really cool. It's important that the song sounds right.
So you kind of have that like that philosophy of the song comes first and serving the song above everything else. Yeah.
I mean, like for sure. And we've had a couple of members, you know, way back in the day who really just wanted to like go hard or go home. But like, I mean, now though the lineup is so solid. I mean, no one wants to do anything other than make the song sound good.
It's pretty BA, I will say. You have a great lineup of people in your band.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing people. But except for the singer, my wife. Yeah, we're married. But yeah, the other parts of creativity just kind of come from just like not overthinking it, you know. And like, and there are moments where like, you know, check your ego at the door hits me really hard because it's like we'll write a song and the vocals always come last because that's the way we do things in our band. I know it's backwards, get over it. But
is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I've asked other bands. Some bands do vocals first, some bands do music first. I can't ever tell what's going to happen anymore. But like for our band, like the vocals are more ancillary. You know, they're more like the second thought or the resolve to like what the situation is that I'm presenting musically.
Right. They're the response to the music.
They're the call. It's the call, and then they're the response. Yeah. And so like when I do that, you know, like we'll write something. We're all like, man, that's the thing right there. Yeah, man, we're all really cool and stuff. And then you know, typically since I write the melodies, I'll try to sing, you know, over that. And there are times where I'm just not the right singer for the part, and then, you know, that's where it's nice to have two singers, because Kayla and I essentially co-sing. Yeah. And there are times where she sings and I don't sing, and there are times where I sing and she doesn't sing.
I love that dynamic in y'all's music. It's really, I mean, there's lots of bands that have two singers, but like the way that your guys' vocals work together, there's a very unique character to how they fit.
Unique character. That's what we're going to call it from now on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like a dance, but it's like, I don't know. It's not like you guys are trying to be something you're not.
No,
like it's just very authentic.
Well, like I'm no stranger to the idea that I'm a reasonably average singer, and so like I've got all the vocal nuance of a jar of mayonnaise. Like it's just like, you know, but like Kayla's ability.
I'm sorry.
You're welcome.
That was the best. That's totally gonna stay in the video.
That's awesome. But like Kayla's ability to like sing with me is a minor miracle, anyways. So like, but like she knows that like, okay, I'm gonna hit these notes like I'm driving a tent stake into the ground, and so she just doesn't flower it. Isn't flowery when she sings with me. It's very straight, you know. And then when she's singing and she's laying down, you know, the main melody line, she's able to breathe a little bit more, you know. Personality into the lick because she's setting the tone for that song. And you know, a lot of people write us and they're like, oh good, you gave her a song. It's like, I didn't give her anything. Like she's the right person to sing the song. This is weird. But you know, and I know people don't mean anything by it.
Right, and they don't see what goes on behind the scenes, you know, which is like kind of what this channel is all about. I mean, the Creative Quest is all about the artist journey, and it's about kind of unpacking the stuff behind the polished product that everyone sees, because you know, so many people are just like, they have such a skewed perspective of what really goes on behind the creative process, and even the music business for that matter. Lots of people have assumptions about things, and they don't really realize like what we actually go through.
It can be kind of dehumanizing, can't it? Yes, because like you only see the end result, and you never see like the lead up to it that was just horrible and arduous and rough, and you know, many different tries and Yeah.
And you know, when you're only presenting the polished product out there and you're not letting people see the humanized aspect of it, then people are going to treat you like you're a product.
Yeah.
And so it's like, because they don't know how else to, because we're all live in a capitalist society, so it just like the mindset makes sense.
But don't you think that might have been like where like the indie revolution came from, where like you wind up seeing like this push of indie music, and it's like just tearing down all of the walls, breaking the fourth wall at every opportunity.
And that's still happening. Yeah. I mean, that's happening in another layer, just with like the digital world. Like once the internet came in and everything like that, it supercharged the independent music industry, and we're seeing some really big changes happening right now for that, and I'm very excited about that. And
I hope it means good things for good bands. Yes.
I'm very excited. I am such a believer in the independent underground music industry. I was gonna ask you to share a little bit more about like your journey as a creative. So we talked about where you started, but like how did you kind of get to where you are now? Maybe like just a few things about what you've learned along the way in your experience since you were 16.
Okay, yeah, boy, I made all the mistakes. So like I have made every dumb and hard-headed, knuckleheaded, stupid decision on planet Earth. So like you can't like, I mean, I've just done it all. Like,
I've done it all.
So like I feel like I know a thing or two, and it's not like I just know things. I've just made so many mistakes along the way. Like I've gone in studio and didn't know the songs. I've gone in studio and didn't know about how the studio worked. I've strong-armed songs into being something I wound up not liking. I've recorded all the parts and then wound up realizing, it would have been better if someone else had recorded some of these parts, or whatever. It's, I've overestimated how quickly you can get stuff done in studio, which always takes, like my rule now is like, I'm going to spend an hour in studio, multiply it by 3.
Right.
Because
there's always something.
and also like the journey for me, the biggest like struggle and challenge has been translating emotion into the headphones that people are going to like. I need to like have them listen to music and feel something.
Because otherwise their performance is going to be...
Well, yeah, and like if people don't feel something, I'm just making noise. Right. So like...
That's really good.
I need to have you go on a trip somewhere.
I need you to say that again, because that was like so good.
Like, if I'm not making you feel something with my music, I'm just making noise.
Drop the mic. Out. That's it. See you next week. Yeah. That's all we need.
That's the kind of wisdom you get for free.
Right. No, I really love that, because that resonates with me so much. Like, if people don't feel something, they're not going to respond. And with creativity, I want my creativity to mean something. I want it to move somebody in whatever direction they need to be moved in the moment when they listen. And because it's something moved me to make the thing.
Right.
And so I'm expressing that experience, and therefore that is going to move someone else, hopefully. And that's why I think it's just so important to be honest in your music.
Yeah, and essentially, like, the way that I think about, like, the way I write songs now, I say but, like, the way that we write songs.
Right,
I mean, like,
I get you.
Like, I usually come up with, like, a rough, and I come into the room and everyone makes it better. Or changes it completely.
Yeah.
CJ's like, why don't we do the whole thing backwards? Like, that sounds great. But, like, for the most part, like, I intentionally leave a hole in the middle of the music so that like that is only going to be filled by the listener. So essentially, like when you see a With Bravado record, it's like it's not complete. It needs your perspective because it gets to. It's almost like giving somebody tinted glasses.
Yeah.
Like I can give you red tinted glasses, and from wherever your perspective is, whatever you're going through or whatever your experience is at the time, you get to have a perspective. And I'm just giving you a theme.
That's so cool. So you're basically like a canvas that's kind of outlined and given a spot for them to color in their own.
Yeah, and I'm frankly not very good at telling stories in music. So like it's when I was 8, it just doesn't. It's not.
Okay.
I don't know how to make it compelling. Like,
right.
The CJ knows how to do that stuff.
Right.
CJ can take you from this point to this point.
Are you talking like lyrically?
Lyrically and linearly.
Right. Okay.
You know, to where like you're going to end here, and
right.
you will have probably had this experience, so you just go with him in this experience. That's why he's a good songwriter. I write thematically. So like it's like
I love that,
you know,
though.
You have felt anger before. You have felt bewilderment, frustration, disillusionment. You've probably felt self-doubt. You've probably felt doubt for other people. You know, you've been let down. You've let other people down. You have tried to figure out where the parameters are for like your obligations to yourself and your enemies and your country and your you know, whatever, your family. You know, and so like if I can approach those topics and leave enough out of it that you get to be part of the sub, you know, essentially like leaving the subject out of the sentence, you know, like that way, like you get to be who we're talking about, but not in like a weird and creepy way, but like in a like respectful way.
Right.
Like, I don't want you to think what I want you to think. I don't want you to think, I don't want to tell you how to think or how to feel. I want you to experience what you need to experience. And the only way I know how to do that is to like write it almost like thematically.
That's neat. So. I really like that approach. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit more on the CJ end. Like, CJ Stanz is your guitar player?
Yes.
Right.
He's very, very good.
He's very good. He's also the lead singer of another band called Sleeping Season, so I would love to have him on the show as well. But I think I relate to him a lot with just being able, where I'm a storyteller in music and bringing people into the story by being honest about my story in music. And
there's a genuineness to like when I listen to your songs, I'm like, okay, I know that this is genuine. It feels genuine, you know.
Right. And I'm also like the queen of metaphors. At least like Chloe is. She plays in your all's band, right?
No, she guests for us when she's bored.
Okay, yeah, she fills in.
She fills in.
Chloe plays bass for Sleeping Seasons.
Yeah.
They all have the same band members pretty much, so sometimes I get them crossed. But anyway,
it's an understandable mistake.
Yeah, but Chloe, she said something to me about my writing that was really interesting. She's just like, you're really good at like making a song a metaphor. Like, you're picking a metaphor to express an idea or express a feeling or a situation, and the whole song is in the language of this metaphor, and it's like consistent all the way through. And
it's funny because like she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but everything in there sounds like a melody line. And she was like, your bass line sounds like a melody
catchy.
line.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I'm not super following your story or anything, but I know how it feels.
Right, and that's like what you're saying. That's exactly what you wanted to accomplish, which is that's so cool. That's such a neat way to approach it, and like it's from the other side of the mirror, basically, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I think that like this touches on a super important topic of self-awareness in music.
Oh my gosh! So I talk about that so much. Like in several videos, I have brought up self-awareness as an artist, like because I just think that's such an important role in the concept of creativity and in the creative process is having that self-awareness. And I mean, it's just important for life in general. Yeah.
Well, it's like you can't be like the lead kazoo player of the electric kazoo band and like wonder why the metal kids aren't showing up. You know, like it's like you got to know what you're doing and who your audience is. You know,
right? Yeah.
Like one of my fears.
You also got to know what you're like trying to say sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time, sometimes the way you figure out what you're trying to say is by just writing, and it just like.
Just manifests.
Yeah. It's like as you're writing the song's talking back to you, and the song is telling you what you feel as you're writing it. Like I've experienced that so many times where I'm just like, I feel this, and it's because of this that happened, but I just don't know how to get it out. So I just start writing, and as I'm writing, like the words and like the emotion and the descriptors, like whether that is musically or lyrically, just start to come because I'm just letting it out.
Yeah, like for me, like the lyrics come like as I'm hearing the theme. Like the music to me is like there's the melody line. Yeah, and the music is kind of like, hey, this stuff is going on, and I can relate it to sort of my experience. But it's it's a little opaque on purpose. You know. Yeah,
absolutely. I love that. So like your lyrics are like kind of opaque, and the music is creating the emotion and creating an atmosphere.
Yeah,
and they kind of decide what that is for themselves as they're in it.
Before I became a spectacular singer, I was really relying on music to sell the emotion, and so now that
You've had a lot of practice with that.
Yeah. So now when I pick up a guitar, I'm not playing the guitar. Okay, this is the background. This is the sunset. Oh, and this is the ocean, and these are the birds. It's like I'm building like what I'm feeling inside. But I know where it's going to be in the mix too.
That's so cool.
I'm going to record this twice. I'm going to spread them wide in the earphones. I'm going to record this. It's going to be here. It's going to be there. And then the vocals, we're going to record a bunch of passes here. Some of them are going to be messy. Some of them are going to be really precise. Some of them are going to be messy. Some are, and spread them up over here. And we're going to do this, and then we're going to crossfade those suckers. And
that's so cool.
And so you can kind of take somebody and there's a longevity to a lick to where you can't. There's that that line where you don't know what it is, but you know when you've crossed it. Whereas I have done this for too many times.
Yeah, I know that feeling. You're like, this is too much.
This needed to have gone 3 times and not 4 or something,
Yeah.
And so the same thing happens when
I needed to make a different variation of it. I needed to change one thing about it to keep the theme going, but give the listener something different that doesn't. Chinese water torture. That's what we called it. And when I was in my songwriting degree is the Chinese water torture thing, where you know what that is.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know who that is, people would lay down and they'd be strapped to something, and they would literally just one drop of water would fall on the same spot on their forehead for days.
Yeah, just
and it would
perpetually aggravating. And
and it would literally drive people insane. So it's crazy. So we can do that as creatives sometimes, and we don't really realize it. But.
Well, and as creatives, instead of creating this musical apoptosis in your own music, you wind up having to I reached out and I wrote people. I was like, I need you to listen to this because I need you to tear it apart.
Right. Yeah. And people you trust. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's good.
And even people I know wouldn't like the song. I sent it to people I knew wouldn't like it.
That's brave, man.
Because I was like, I need you to tell me what you feel when you listen to this.
That's brave.
And I remember one person was like, your band is great. There's no dynamic. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, it's all 10. It just never ends.
Yeah, that's really smart. I never thought of doing that, sending music to someone who doesn't necessarily like the genre. That's really just smart, because they have a different perspective on the feeling, the emotion of the song.
And it would be very consumer.
Yeah,
it would
exactly.
It would be very unemotional, because it would just be I don't care about this. This is just what what I'm seeing as a passerby. And,
that's really good.
And sometimes that provides insight where it's this song is too long. This song, and somebody will say, I wish the song was half the length so that I could really enjoy the second half of the song.
Right.
Or whatever. It's oh, well, we need to divide that up.
That's really smart. Yeah, I'm gonna take that. Yeah. And do that.
Be careful. People will tell you what they think.
That's the thing is that vulnerability, especially for artists, is in a way it's a double-edged sword, because that's what we do. Mm-hmm. We're vulnerable in our music, but then we're also the most sensitive people ever. Yeah, so it's
So people are like, man, it's just hot garbage, and you're like, yeah, dude, that's all right, man, it's cool. And then they leave, and you're like, oh my word. I'm hot garbage.
Right? And you go get the thing of ice cream, and you turn on Netflix, and you...
Right. It's time to watch a few episodes of The Office later.
Right, exactly.
You're okay again.
It shatters you. Right. Alright, so we've been talking a lot about your creative process and the band, and kind of how you guys approach things and whatnot, and songwriting and all sorts of cool stuff. So we should probably know what the name of your band is.
Okay. So nobody knows the name of this band. We have been introduced as everything except for the name of this band. But the band is called With Bravado. 2 words.
With Bravado.
Bravado.
How did you come up with that?
It's a band of introverts. I thought it was funny. We're all so quiet and relaxed and
that's funny.
And not very wound up, and so I was just like, it's an irony. Yeah, it's an irony, but I didn't realize it was a word people didn't know. So people were like, "Oh, you're Bravado." Well, I don't know where the with went, and I don't know Bravado. You're that Barbados band, Barbados.
Isn't that a country?
Yeah, so got Barbados one time. It's yep, that's us.
That's when You the Few used to be Eleutheria.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's why we changed the name, because we got weird things like urethra. It was bad. It was so bad.
So this is not the name of your band.
Right.
This is complicating Google search results. Eucalyptus
leaves, like all sorts of weird
euthanasia.
stuff.
Yeah.
It was bad. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's
Yeah.
funny.
So-
With Bravado.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Thanks.
Cool. So, what are some like kind of goals that you have for yourself, or for the band, or just for?
I had never thought about this, like, really until recently, because,
Right.
like, honestly, I just wanted to write music, and then every record that we put out, I was like, I'm never doing that again. You know? So, like, you know, the first record came out, and I was like, I'm done, you know. Put a fork in it, that's the band.
Hashtag fail
Yeah.
and boom.
Well, like, at the end of the studio, like, Kayla and I were the only ones left. Everyone else
Yeah.
left. And so, like, we didn't have a
That
band.
sucks,
And so it
right,
was just
yeah.
like, oh, I don't know what to do. I couldn't play it if I wanted to.
Wow,
And
yeah.
then, you know, CJ joined, and CJ was just so, like, footloose and fancy free. And he was like, well, I'm going to go back in the studio, and I'm going to do things and stuff. And I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, like, I've got some stuff I've been sitting on.
Right,
so,
yeah.
And so Silent Phil came out, and then you know, we're working on a new record. We haven't announced the name of the record yet, but it's going to be ironic and stupid and funny and silly and serious. So it's
Love
going to
it.
be the perfect With Bravado record. But like you know, every time I'm like, I don't know, man. This is the last one. So now I'm just hoping that like we're showing systematic growth in the areas of self-awareness and also recording fidelity.
Yeah.
And then also, like in this next record, you know, we're going to have, you know, better vocals. You know,
Right.
the vocals just have
Yep.
grown. We're just getting
Yeah,
better.
I can
you know?
relate to that for sure.
It's just, and it's weird how you like look back and you're like, man, that was the best I could do 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't do any better. And
You know
now,
what really sucks though? Is when you look back and you're like, man, that was not the best I could have done 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Like, that's what happened to us. We were like, we were just rushed. Everything
Yeah.
was rushed, and it was like, we know we can do so much better. So
Yeah.
both ways suck in different
Yeah.
ways.
I've looked
Yeah.
back and been like, I wasn't in the proper headspace to be in studio that day or whatever,
Yeah.
you know. And so like,
Crazy.
you know, you learn stuff. You don't know that stuff. You can't know that stuff until you
do it. Until you
do it. And like, I always want to like record something in 10 years I won't be ashamed of. You
Yeah.
know, so like
Yeah, absolutely. I totally can relate to that.
I want for a Google search to not shame me. You know, so
Right,
I want it
right.
to, you know, hey, it's that band. Yeah, they had a couple of good songs or whatever. And I want it to be like,
Right,
you know, like
yeah.
there's something that you're
Yeah.
leaving behind that's endearing and
Right.
isn't embarrassing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. So, how would you describe like With Bravado's sound? Because it's really unique, I think.
Yeah, you know, it came from the idea of like combining male and female vocals with really heavy rock,
Mm-hmm.
but like being really precise with it, so it's not grunge.
Yeah.
So like it was like at first it was like Sonic Youth, but we thought this is too messy and too crazy, and then it was like Stray Light Run, and Stray Light Run was more indie and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and not quite as heavy as we wanted to go. And then we were like maybe Garbage, if like Garbage married
Yeah.
like Milk Teeth.
Okay.
And we were like, okay, so there's what we want to do for the female vocals.
Got it. Okay,
and then
yeah.
for the male vocals, you know, I'm a born baritone with the most useless range on planet Earth. So like, it's like,
Sorry, baritones.
yeah, I know what you're going through.
Right.
You're probably better than me. But yeah, I referenced like stranger singers where like Everclear, Interpol, Me Without You.
Yeah.
The Bravery, you know, bands where it's like, okay, so lower voice singers have been able to communicate soul and spirit and tell a story. You don't have to be the best at what you're doing. Like that's why like I get to sing a song. And it's like I don't think you have to be the best at what you do in order to tell a compelling story
Right.
that matters, because it matters to me. And you know, we get messages from all over the world from people who are like,
That's
we
awesome.
really appreciate what you're doing. And it's like, well, heck, I mean, there's better bands in this town, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, but
Yeah, that says a lot, you know?
yeah, so I appreciate that like people have allowed for, you know, finite beings to like to produce something and like honestly try their best and like get on board with us. It's been really nice of people and we've really appreciated it.
That's really great. So new records coming approximately when?
Single should be out around the turn of the year.
Cool.
I've got to wait on Spotify. Spotify takes forever this time of year. And then
When the holidays hit,
Yeah.
don't try to market anything.
Yeah.
if you're a musician.
you call Spotify. So when's the single going to be up? Don't know. It's
Yeah,
like,
there's
oh,
a lot going on.
how do you
this
plan
time of
for
year.
that? You know, and also like I'm trying to, you know, like we're not a big important band, so we don't have money for like tons of stuff. So I'm trying to get a music video together. Really want a music video together. So if I can, I'll have that, and if I can't, that's
Yeah,
okay.
that's great.
So we'll release a 5-song EP sometime early 2020, and then we've got some little surprise chasers
Cool.
for people, so I'm really stoked about those.
That'll be super exciting.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you described a bit of your musical like tapestry. So if you could kind of condense that into like a genre, what would you say?
Oh goodness.
Because that's like the hardest question, because
like
there's so many different subgenres of subgenres now.
Like I still don't know. If I had to tell people like a bumper sticker thing, I'd be like male and female alternative rock, male and female led alternative rock.
Yeah, I think that's a good umbrella genre to use.
Because like we have a lullaby on every record, so sometimes it's really soft and sometimes it's not ever you guys heavy. It's not like You the Few is a very heavy band. And your personal work is is heavier than more heavier. I have a degree. Is heavier
Ladies
than
and gentlemen, a PhD.
But like your stuff is heavier than mine ever gets close to. But like the spectrum for alternative rock is more like. It's less extreme, I think.
Yeah,
it's just like
makes sense.
Heavy rock is like the Foo Fighters, you know. It's like
Well, there's also stages of heaviness too, like through the decades. Like what was heavy like 20 years ago is like kind of mellow now.
Yeah.
Like now we've got all the gent bands with the 7-string guitars that are just like in drop G.
Right.
You know, and it's like super heavy music.
Yeah.
But you know that wasn't a thing, 20 years ago, so it's like that wasn't the heaviest thing that existed. So I feel like heavy is different depending on what, age and decade of music you're coming from.
And so like it's hard. Like I've tried to tell people about this band 100 times, and I'm just like, I just don't know. It's like,
yeah, I think alternative male and female led alternative rock is a great, just good, solid umbrella.
And the music's not crazy enough to be like, oh, I don't like this, and I like alternative rock, and it's not mundane enough to be white noise, so I don't know.
For sure.
It's kind of strange. Yeah, if you have any suggestions, please tell me.
Yeah, if you listen, because I'm planning on putting obviously links to your music in the description below. You can check out their music there in the description below. Feel free to leave some comments and maybe comment on what genre you think it is, because I think alternative rock is a great start, but I'd love to hear some other thoughts on that from other people that may watch this and stuff. But also, I plan on putting some of your music in the video itself, if that's cool.
That's completely cool. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, we'll give you a little taste of that too. So, awesome. Well, is there anything else you would like to share with folks today?
I have zero wisdom that I have not already said.
You are a dry sponge now.
Empty. Hashtag empty.
Right. Awesome. So, y'all, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Maybe share it with a friend. And thank you to all those who have subscribed to the channel so far. And next week, the next several weeks, we're actually going to be bringing on my husband on the show. We're going to get into some of the things about audio and gear and studio and some of the things that, even you were saying, like, how do I translate emotion into the headphones? Like, my husband is a wizard at this stuff, so he's going to be talking a lot about that and how that pertains to creativity in the coming episodes. So, again, don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you guys next time on The Creative Quest. Thank you, Julian.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, there was something I was going to ask you. I sat down and literally just left my brain.
Goodbye, thought. I loved you. You tried your best to help me.
I would like to see you on one of those comedy improv shows. like there's this place in downtown Portland called Comedy Sports, and it would be so awesome to see you on one of those. I think you would do really well. I think
it's just teaching high school. You have to be the kids keep you sharp.
Yeah, because they'll jump on you.
Don't edit this. If you're watching this later, Shekinah.
Don't.
No, I'm talking to the future Shekinah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Shekinah, don't edit this out. You have to keep this for posterity. Sorry, we were having a conversation.
It was funny.